This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author U and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
One of the ongoing questions I get, and a lot of my pros that I work with, is what to do when you're expecting and your expectancy isn't going so well. And what we're really talking about is the whole area of what happens if you're getting fleeced, or you're feeling you're being fleeced, or you're being taken for a ride, or taken advantage of, or basically screwed over in your publishing area. And one of the hot streams that has bubbles up over and over again in the LinkedIn group Author U, which has over 5,100 members that pop in and dialogue on, is this whole area of publishing predators. For example, one of the popular streams started with someone asking a question about a company called Balboa Press. And it led off with, it's a Christian publisher, so it's got to be good. And then it's like the gates burst open and people just started vomiting all over of horrendous experiences they had with Balboa Press, which is owned by Hay House, and a lot of people don't know is really operated by Author Solutions and Author House. And then I started another stream on there saying, let's start up another stream, because there was over 400 comments, and now that is now bubbling all over the place. And one of our commentators, who I really appreciate, who adds in just sage advice and wisdom, as well as one of my partners on the open mic that we do every Monday morning live at noon Eastern, on Author Mentoring Mondays, is Michele DePhilippo, who is the visionary and the key voice of 1106 in Design. And just to know a little bit about 1106 Design, it's based in Phoenix, and they work with authors and publishers and business pros, coaches, consultants, people like me, speakers, and anyone who wants a beautiful book that is just put together with industry standards and can compete with the big boys from the East Coast. They offer top quality cover design, typeset interiors, manuscript editing, indexing, title consulting, etc. So they truly believe that one size does not fit all, but there is a size for you. So Michele is going to be with me throughout this hour, because we're going to be deep diving into gulp publishing predators and what to look for, how to avoid being fleeced, what to do if you've got your hoo-hoo in the ringer, and some things that you can do to move on, which could be as simply as get out of Dodge and just start over. But with that, Michele, welcome to Author U, your guide to book publishing.
Well, thank you, Judith. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show this morning, and I do hope that we can cover some of the topics, like you said, that we've been talking about at length online, because it does seem like there is a never-ending stream of people who are fleeced by these self-publishing companies, and I know you feel, and I feel, that it's just time to start making a more serious effort to educate people and try to save people from what's going on out there, because it's just flat out wrong.
Well, I think that one of the problems is, Michele, is too many times people don't shout it out when they've been shafted. Yes. That they either put their tail between the legs and go away and maybe never come back to publishing again, or they beat themselves with their internal whip. That they should have known better. And the reality is, I would like to say, yeah, you should have known better, because my goodness, there is so much information out on so many of these companies, problems that they've had. But authors, in their naivete, in their ignorance, and sometimes arrogance, I guess I would throw in the play, don't want to believe what so many people shout out. I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, I don't. Yes, it's true. Buyer beware. You should always do your research and so forth. But here's what's happening that I think is partly responsible for that. Is that when someone goes on Google and they start their research into self-publishing, these companies have so much money that they dominate the search engine. Okay, so an ordinary human being who doesn't have too much knowledge about the publishing industry goes online to begin to find out, and the only companies that they find are these self-publishing companies, pages and pages and pages of them. So, like any sensible person, you go to their website and they start with the promises. They start telling you that you can publish your book for free or nearly free. They tell you can do it with a template. They tell you that they will do everything for you. They have a whole long laundry list of promises that they make, and so before the author has any time to really think about it, they're emotionally hooked. Oh my goodness, this is my dream come true. I've written my book, and now these people are going to do all the hard work, and they're going to help me get it out to the world. So, there's nothing wrong with being in business and offering services in return for money. We all do that. But I think what these companies do and where they cross the line is that they don't help authors produce a good book. They just play on their emotions in return for lots of money.
And a lot of people don't realize how lots it can become. I mean, when you start in, well, we can do your book for $97 or $197 or $297, $397, $497, $597. There's always seems to be a 7 in it. Number, you think that's it. And what you don't realize is that you are now in a boiler room operation, and you are going to be hammered, and I'm not kidding, hammered with upselling, buying other goods and services. And that's where all of a sudden you're in for a $3,000 or $4,000, or one of them has a $14,000 marketing package.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning what happens. It is very stunning. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and going into this, and the things that you can do. We're going to give you warning signs. We'll give you some scripting that you can use, and I'm going to encourage all of you, if you will please listen to last week's session that I had on intellectual property with Steve Replin, because we also got into publishing predators, because he's had to legally undo some of these contracts. So please listen to the one that was done the previous week. And I'll have to look up the date, because I can't remember the date on this silly thing. So that would be the 20th. So the show dated June 20th, that you would go across that. All right. So with that, let's just talk about some of the things to look for. And you know what? I think I would like to start with, since Michele, you opened up Google when you're doing searches, and Michelle's talking about all these ads. So what you need to understand, usually when you do a Google search, if you put in like self-publishing help or something like that, that these companies will have paid ads at the very top of the Google search list. And you need to get past those very, very quickly. And you need to learn to do, instead of using a search term like help with self-publishing, you need to, or just self-publishing, which is a search word, you need to get into the buy phrases. And what we want you to do is that anybody you deal with, and I think we need to throw a caveat in here, Michele, is that no one, I don't care how fantastic you are, no one is always going to bat 100% with every client they work with. Sometimes it's just not a right fit. Sometimes the gods don't come together and it just doesn't work. And someone may put up a grumble or a complaint or something about someone, and you can read it, but is it legit? What you want to do is, when you put up a name of a company, once you narrow down on some name of these companies, is that you want to use followed by the word complaint, ripoff, scam, con, lawsuits, problems. kind of those 6 key words. And then you deep dive and you dig into all of that and you read it very carefully. You're looking for repetition, you're looking for patterns, and the like. And you read those closely, and then it really is author beware. Would you agree, Michele?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like you said, every business has a complaint now and then. It's just the nature of being in business. There is just some people who don't allow themselves to be pleased, no matter what you do. But yeah, if you start finding, hundreds of stories about someone who didn't have a good experience with Lulu or Author House or any of the hundreds of companies now that exist in the self-publishing arena, just do that before you get hooked into their emotional appeal, because I have to give them credit. They do now know how to write emotional copy and hit all the hot buttons that authors are looking for. Who wouldn't like to sign up with somebody who's going to do all the work for them and is going to get their book available nationwide and all of that. It is confusing, because if you do try to find information online about self-publishing, it is very confusing. There's an awful lot of different ways to go about it. So when you do land on a website that says, "Don't worry, we'll take care of all of that for you," it is very appealing.
Oh yeah, we're going to hug you, and we'll hug you virtually, and we'll take care of it, and you not to worry. So as we go into our first break here, we have about 50 seconds before we hit it, but that it's really important to really deep dive down. If there's one thing you take away, you have to deep dive down. Know that there will be a few grumblings, but boy, when you see repetition, you need to have every warning alert going on you, and getting into it. And the other thing is, I'm going to tell you, whoever you deal with, make sure you don't pay by check, you don't pay by cashier's check, you pay by credit card, because if there is truly misrepresentation, if they don't fulfill whatever their contract they have with you, you can call the credit card company and cry foul, and the credit card companies that get involved. And there sometimes is a better restitution with the whole thing. All right, we're going to be right back. Michele from 1106 Design is with me. We're talking about publishing predators and how to avoid getting fleeced. This is Judith Briles.
Is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Every picture tells a story. And it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so we're talking about publishing predators, how to avoid being fleeced. And with me is Michele DePhilippo, who is the visionary of 1106 Design based in Phoenix. And we work and kind of bail out a lot of people who get roped in. I encouraged everyone, if you're just tuning in, to make sure you listen to the show dated June 6th on intellectual property, because we did talk about some of the publishing predators and getting out of some of these contracts. So, and you do enter a contract with these people. So here's some of these BS detectors that you can look at. And Michele, I want you to jump in on, I'm going to throw out some on my list. We promise you that you will be a bestseller. We're going to guarantee you soaring sales. We're going to give you mega media coverage. You're going to have fantastic book reviews. Your book will look as good as any New York published book for less than $597. And wait, there's more. Oprah, Ellen, Rachel, Martha, fill in the blank, are just going to love it and want to have you featured on their shows. What would you like to add to that list?
Oh, I've reviewed a couple of these publishing contracts, not in recently actually, and some of the things in these contracts are just unbelievable. One that I came across was the requirement that you must accept the one cover design and the one interior design that they're going to do for you. And they don't say what happens if you don't want to accept that, or if you request changes. There's no information about what it's going to cost you if you don't accept the one design that they offer you. Now, anybody in this business for any length of time knows that when you present a cover design or an interior design to the author, they naturally want to put their own stamp on it. They do want to make some changes. They may like what you suggested. They may not like what you suggested, but there's always changes. So that's one thing to look out for in a contract. If they tell you they're going to offer one design, the next question you need to ask is, okay, what happens if I don't like that design?
Well, and the thing is, as someone else who works with authors closely on their design factor, sometimes there's, I think the shortest design actually was one of my own books, because the designer knew me so well that it helped short circuit, all the playing around, that we got something on the second pass. We knew we had it. We were done. But very typically it could be 6-7 passes, and we're tweaking, we're moving, there's colors, there's a font change, there's a repositioning, there's that kind of thing. So when someone tells you, you just get one shot, and then as Michele says, so your question is, so what's it going to cost if it's not acceptable?
Right. I came across one contract where they said, if you don't like our designs, then you can work with your own designer and bring us the design that you do like.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. And so that's when my position goes on, where I tell a lot of people is that if you are going to bring in, which my preference is, if you're working with a packager, which is what these people often are, just packagers, is that you're better off getting a professional that you can interact with and work with to do your interior and exterior designing, and then just upload it to Ingram Spark or CreateSpace. But that's my position.
Well, yeah, and that's what people don't necessarily know is an option. At least when I talk to people, they had no idea that the only thing that these self-publishing companies are doing is charging them for the work and then uploading it to Lightning Source. They couch it in all kinds of fancy language, like, we will give you free distribution. Well, yeah, but you can get that for yourself, and you don't have to share your royalties with any self-publishing company once the book is finished. So essentially what these people are doing is they're charging you to produce the book, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They're uploading it to Lightning Source and or CreateSpace, and then they're getting paid again and forever every time you sell a copy of your book. They have no right to do that. They've already been paid to create the book. When you work with an independent editor or designer or someone like Judith, we charge for our services, of course, but then we're out of the picture. We don't participate in your profits one iota after that, and that's how it should be.
I agree with that. You own it 100%. The other thing is that you all need to realize is that if you are, printing through Lightning Source, which happens to be owned by Ingram, which is, the granddaddy of, all the wholesalers out there. You do have that distribution chain. If you're through Ingram Spark, then you have the Ingram, distribution chain, so to speak. So you do have national, and basically with any of these self-publishing, paid-to-publish companies, is that when they tell you you have national exposure, that's what it is. It's because they are printing through Lightning Source or they're hooked in with Ingram, and that's it. And as Michele says, you can do that too.
Yeah, well, the way the phrase they seem to use over and over again is that your book will be available in bookstores nationwide. Well, to someone not in the industry, that sounds like the book is going to be on the shelf, but that's not what they mean. What they mean is they're going to upload the book to Ingram Spark, and as part of that process, your title is listed in the Ingram database, and that means that a bookstore can order the book for anyone who might walk in and order a copy, but it's not going to be on the shelf. And so when they say to people, your book will be available in bookstores nationwide, I think that's a deliberate miscommunication on their part.
Well, it is. I think that all our authors who are listening need to have a come-to-book moment with themselves. And I've always asked my authors, all right, so if you want your books in a physical bookstore, will you work your tush off? And I'm dead serious when I say this. Will you work your tush off to get people to go into those bookstores to buy the book?
That's right. That's right. And I think it comes down to just authors needing someone to bring them up to speed on how the publishing industry works before they believe what any of these companies tell them. I came doing research this morning in preparation for this show. I went online and I found a self-publishing company that is selling a Library of Congress catalog number for $49. Now, you can go online and get that for yourself for free. And the way they explained it was, if you buy this LCCN, which is the abbreviation for Library of Congress catalog number, if you buy this, your book has a chance to be listed nationwide. And yes, it does. That's absolutely true. But what happens is you buy you can get an LCCN for free from the Library of Congress, and then the Library of Congress decides whether or not they're going to catalog your book. It's 100% free. There's no reason to pay $49 for that. It takes 5 minutes.
All right. So for our listeners, you just go to loc.gov.
Yes.
For this.
Yes.
And I will tell you, it's a 2-step process that you go through in getting that. And so you put it up with your information dealing with your publishing company, and then you have they will send back email coming back, and please don't say that you're self-publishing on it. You tell them that you just the name of the publishing company. You don't have to say you're self-published. It's your publishing company, and you act like you're a big boy publisher here. So come up with a name that's not your name. Don't put your name in your publishing company. Don't put the title of your book in your publishing company. Make it sound like it's a publishing company. and you put in for it. They will send you back an email that says, okay, you can apply for it. It's very quickly, and you'll get it usually within 48 hours. It's done, and it's all done by email. So that's going to be a process. But you need to have your ISBNs before you do that, because you're going to give them the ISBN for the book number with that, and you're going to do a guesstimate of how many pages. If you don't know the exact amount of pages, don't worry about it. You're just getting the number. You will put that with your ISBN and your LCCN on your copyright page, so it's there. So do this right, please, please, please. All right, so that's some of the things a couple things that you need to know about. So, and again, don't work with a company that you have not done Google research on and check them out on. And here's another detector, and I've said this earlier, make sure you pay for things with credit cards, and these companies will love you until your credit card maxes out. I have never seen. So what are some of the alerts before we go into our next breaks? A couple of alerts. We are New York publishers. Really? Does that mean they have a P.O. box there in New York, or do they have a physical presence? We can get you top media coverage. No one can ever, I don't care who they are, what publicist they are, they cannot guarantee this. We guarantee book reviews in the top markets. Get away from the word guarantee. It's going to get you in deep doo-doo. We only work with the top designers. If you sign with us, a senior editor with our affiliate New York publisher will look at your book. Michele, I see that pitched often from these companies because they're being bought by other companies. There is like the giant gobble going on right now because they realize so much frickin' money is coming in with these.
Yeah, it comes down to the author understanding what they're going to get for their money and making that value judgment. Just make sure that you're not turning money over to someone for no benefit, okay? This morning, again, I found out one of the self-publishing companies is offering marketing materials to people. Back cover copy is $250.
Okay, hold on that. Michele, hold on that. We're going to come back. Let's talk about what they do and don't do for their marketing pitches.
Okay.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, Enhancing the Promotion of Your Book During Infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Oh, I want to remind all of you, if you would love to spend 2 solid days with me, Judith Briles, August 1st and 2nd in Denver, Colorado, Judith Briles Unplugged will roll out. It'll be our second intense happening here in Denver, as I said, and it's an amazing thing. I will structure a speech around your book. You're going to do it, but I'm going to show you how to do it, and we will work it through. If you've thought about crowdfunding or hadn't thought about crowdfunding, you will, because I'm going to make you do a project for your book, for your marketing, for your next book, for fill in the blank that you hadn't thought about, that opens up a whole new way. I'm going to deep dive into a variety of marketing strategies and techniques to, I don't guarantee you're going to have a bestseller, but I'm going to give you the tools that if you're willing to work your tush off, that just could happen. If you want to find out about that, go to thebookshepherd.com, click on events, and join me. Through the end of this month, you will get $100 off. All your meals are included. That's Judith Briles Unplugged, August 1st and 2nd. We're talking about publishing predators. And as we went to the break, we were just starting to open up some of the hooks that they try to pull you into, that what they will do and pull you into. And Michele was opening up some of the key things that what they say about marketing. And what I told her off the air that I wanted to come back and make and say is that someone who's going to help you design your marketing, both Michele and I truly believe they need to read your book so they know and get your book. And they may ask you to fill out a detailed questionnaire about who, what, where, what, why the book's about, which is important for you to know. But I always ask all my authors, who is your reader? What is your book about? Can you tell me in 6 words? Now that'll put an assignment into all of you. Can you describe your book in 6 words? Now, the words with, and, for, a, I'm going to delete those, but key words that will bring it in and bring it succinct. But the person who works with you on your marketing copy is just not copying what's on your back cover. They've got to come up, they should be wordsmiths that can make your words maybe buzz to another level, which is important. Michele, let's get your 2 bits in here.
Yeah, I went online this morning, as I said, and I found some self-publishing companies who offer what they call marketing copy, press releases and back cover copy, and a tagline and so forth. And they're charging about $250 for each one of those services. Now, I think people who may not be in business for themselves don't understand that a business owner has to charge at least $100 an hour to do almost any kind of job. So in order to stay in business and keep the lights on. So if someone's charging you $200 or $295, that means they're spending 2 to 3 hours on the job. And writing marketing copy takes longer than that. So if they're asking you to fill out a detailed questionnaire and they're only basically editing it down and stitching your replies together into back cover copy or into a press release, you're not getting your money's worth. You really need to work with someone who has read your book, who has interviewed you about your book, and who wants to understand your book inside out, so that they can use their skills to pull out things that you may not even recognize about your book. That's how you get to good marketing copy.
Oh yeah, and sometimes they will create a phrase that's the cat's meow that you've never thought of, but boy, it becomes a tag for
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
and that's what you're looking for, and that's where those gifted wordsmiths come into play. And it's not something that's going to come from a boilerplate operation. And I have seen, we had one of our authors that we had worked with, and she said, "What do you think about working with this person?" And you know, we decided let's give it a go. And when we saw the press release that came back, we both said, "What?" I mean, this was no different. There was not one word different from the back cover copy. That means that they were frickin' lazy and did not do anything. Did not do anything. So that's important to understand. All right, so you had a couple of other things, phrases that I wanted people to be on alert with for is that, you know, to be alarmed of. What would be, for example, we'll put your book on our front list. Well, what does that mean with these pay-to-publish companies? I have no idea. I know what a front list means with the New York. I mean, that means they're going to be driving it, that they will be pitching that directly to the bookstores. I know what that means. But what's it mean with what? Are they going to show it up for a day on their catalog online? I don't know what that means.
I don't either, and I think that's just another emotional appeal, you know, that they reel authors in with. I know some of the self-publishing companies will promise to sell your book in their bookstore, but you know, who goes there? I mean, have you ever gone to the Lulu bookstore to buy a book? I don't think so. But they use that as a sales technique, because from their bookstore, you're going to get a larger royalty than if you sell the book on Amazon. So that sounds really good. You know, it's just a deception from day one.
There is deep deception. The other thing is we need to say, if they are designing, and if you're with these companies, guess what? They control your Amazon page.
Yeah.
And that means it's on their Amazon page. It's not your page. You're just one of many others. And that means they will take a piece of the action. You're going to get that. And you need to all understand, if you have your book and you post it on Amazon, you're going to get, if you do, for example, an Amazon Advantage account, amazon.com/advantage, you open up that account. If your book, whatever that retail would say, the book is $20, you have a $20 price on it, that they will discount it 55%. And I've heard more authors piss and moan about the 55% discount. You get over this. What do you think a distributor is going to take of your book if you resell it to bookstores and things? They're going to take a 55% whack. That means that you get $9. Now, if you're through a distributor trying to go to the bookstore, and let's say XYZ bookstore in your local town says, okay, we'll order a couple of those books from the distributor now is going to charge, course, shipping to get it out. And let's say that the bookstore decides, they're not selling, I'm going to send it back. They're going to charge you maybe a couple of bucks to bring it back into stock again. You can lose money really fast. If you go through the Amazon route, and I'm not saying not use bookstores because I love bookstores, but if you go to the Amazon route, they're going to pay you 70% of retail. So if that $20 come in at retail, they're going to pay you $9. Is my math right, Michelle? I hope so.
I'm not really good in math.
I think it's $9. All right, so if they're going to pay you $9, guess what? If Amazon decides, and you don't know what the Amazon robots are going to do, if Amazon reduces your price from $20 to say $17.85, it's not 55% of $17.85. It's still 55% discount from $20. Please understand that.
Right.
Whatever they agree to pay you from the get-go is what you get. Their discounting has zippo to do with it. The other thing that I think is an enormous plus, because I had one of my authors last night that was moaning and groaning, and I said, let me go in. I'll tell you exactly what the sales have been this week on Amazon for your book. And we went in the back door in, and she could see, 8 books sold last week. This week there were 12 books, blah, 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 blah. So you can see those coming in, and that's part of the control that can be lovely, that you can take advantage of. So to me, it's about control. The reason why I publish now, where I was 31 of my books, 18 were with New York, is that control is important. I want control. I want to love my cover. That's really, I've had too many covers come from New York that I hated. I want the interior with what you can do with interiors and with wonderful graphic designers like what Michele can do with her company of 1106 Design, that you can make your interiors just sing and entice and invite the reader in instead of being line after line after line after line after line after line of text. So, I want that input and I want quality to be in quality. How a book feels to me, how it looks is really important. And you know what? I like money. I want to know what kind of money is coming in if I'm going to do this as an venture. But that's just where I come from with that. In that you don't have that control with these pay to publish companies. They say you do. They promise you everything, but you don't get it. One of the other promises, they say, we're going to get you in the major bookstores. That's a joke. Or they'll say, we love your book. Oh, it's going to be a bestseller. I mean, that's that emotional hook. Oh, my book's going to be a bestseller. And then, of course, I always love it, Michele, when they say, your book is just perfect. It needs no editing. We're ready to go to print.
Yeah. Yeah, they always start with the template approach to design, and possibly they do it with editing too. I don't really know, but you'll see on their website that you can choose from a dozen cover templates, or you can choose from a dozen interior templates, and pick the one that you like the best. Well, that sounds good. It sounds like you've got a dozen options, but what does that mean? If there's 300,000 books published every year and they're offering the same 10 templates to everybody, it means your book is going to look just exactly like every other book. And if you've taken the time to write a book and you want buyers to spend their money to read your book, that's just not the way it's done in a publishing company. We try to make it, when we work on a book, we try to make it unique. Yes, there are certain things that we do all the time, like certain typefaces that are best for easy reading. But beyond that, we try to give the interior design some visual appeal so that when people open the book, there's a little bit of a visual surprise. It doesn't look like a Word file that was just reduced to 6x9 size with half-inch margins.
Yeah. All right. When we come back on our final thing, we're going to get into a few more of these fleece detectors, and I want to talk about some accounting issues, because that's where transparency really happens. This is Judith Briles with you, Michele. We're talking about publishing competitors.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at MyBookShepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, Publishing Predators. My guest today is Michele DePhilippo, who is the visionary behind 1106 Design, based in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're talking about, one of my favorite things to go off on is the Publishing Predators because of the extreme violation and what turns out to be downright betrayal of authors and their work and their passion. And when it happens, they're so angry at themselves for getting caught up, for getting roped in, and what it does is sometimes kills some really wonderful ideas because of just the agony and the defeat that they've gone through in trying to get out of the mess. Would you agree, Michele?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I have an author that we actually worked with just in the last week who called me. He was practically in tears. He was telling me his story about how he got roped into a self-publishing company, and he just found out that he could go to Ingram Spark and he didn't have to do what he had done. So I said, okay, tell me what's going on. Where are you in the process right now? So he had written a small booklet. The self-publishing company told him that he should format his interior design in Word. He should design his own cover with a template, and that's how they got him started, because that was free. It didn't cost him any money. So what he wound up with was a 58-page book. They called it a book. Of course, we know it's not a book. It's a booklet. They placed it on Amazon for him for the impossible sales price of $25. Now, they told him that this booklet was going to cost $7.99 to print. It really cost about $2.30 to print. So after factoring in the wholesale discount, the net revenue from this book at $25 would be $11.25. The self-publishing company subtracts the $7.99 printing fee from it and then promises to split the royalties with the author. Now, the result of that would be $3.26, and they were going to split that $3.26 with the author and give him $1.63 for every copy sold. Now, they know that a booklet that's 58 pages long can't possibly sell for $25. So that's part of their plan, okay? So when the book doesn't sell and he starts to get antsy about that, they promised him that if he gave them $1,200, they would market the book for him. And if he gave them another $850, they would display his book at an AARP convention, and that would certainly boost sales for him. So he believed them, and he ponied up that money. So at this point in the process, the self-publishing company has now earned $2,050, and the author has earned absolutely nothing. This is what they're doing tens of thousands of times over and over again to authors who don't take the time to research and don't understand what they're getting into. And what they do then is they take that money and they buy ads on the search engines, and they get top ranking in the search engines, and it's just rinse and repeat. They keep reeling in more authors, tens of thousands of authors. And that's what Judith and I are talking about today, because it's just got to stop. It's absolutely insane that this is allowed to continue.
It is, and then we should say that there is a massive class action suit in the works against Author House, Author Solutions, Penguin, who bought them up because they love their distribution channel and all these fabulous names and the seduction of money. It's truly amazing. Both Michele and I have mentioned Ingram Spark. I'm going to refer you also to a show we did. It's dated March 6th this year, March 6, 2014, with Robin Cutler, who is the director of Ingram Spark. And I would encourage you to listen to all of that. So the two shows I referred you back to, one is March 6th with Robin Cutler for Ingram Spark, and the other is June 20th with Steve Replin on intellectual property, and we get into publishing predators and the like. So, that kind of thing that you're talking about, Michele, is these grossly overpriced. Here's a common complaint I hear is they put these outrageous prices on it. They can never sell them. It's just, and so in your competitive work, as you as an author listening in, you need to really do a search. Go down to your bookstore. And by the way, here's my belief. When you go into a bookstore, I want you to buy something, not a cup of coffee. You buy a book. You buy a book. You're going in there to do research. You're paying them for the use. Help them out a little bit, please. All right, so see what's going on in their genre, in your genre. What's going on? What's the current price? What are the new books? What's the size of these books? How do they compare? That's where you start with some of your competitive analysis for pricing. Go on Amazon. Do the same frickin' thing. You have to go out. You're looking at size. You're looking at the copyright date, publishing date, when this came out, so you can see how topical you are. If I'm going back to Michele's example of the 56-page, $25 fabulous item here that was really a farce, the only exception would be if you were such a well-known person that created such an unbelievable white paper that would be used on professional circles. That's where you get these higher prices in. But for us regular Joes and Josephines out here, be real. Be real. Is it really a $7 offering? Is it a little print-on-demand offering that maybe you ought to put up for $3.95? Be real. Do your competitive analysis. So, I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Here's some other fleece detectors. The transparency issue, it's just not there. They promise accounting that never appears. I am so aware of a well-known pay-to-publish operation that charges $5,000 to $6,000 to enter in. You have to buy part of the contract, several thousand copies of the book. And I know authors, after several years, have never seen accounting. They can't get the accounting. Pushing additional and multiple products at you, this is a very strong sign that they're a predator. That's the upsell. The boilerplate. I know from Author House, Author Solutions, that well over 70% of their employees are not in America. They are offshore in the Philippines, Malaysia. That's where those calls come from. The internal turnover of the design team is internally turning over. I mean, every month there's somebody different every which way. Time runs away. That you thought this was going to be done in 3 months, all of a sudden it's 9 months. The design, the best word that you could be identified with it, and this goes into Michele's field, is it's mediocre at best. And I see those. It looks like everybody else. It's clip art basically on it. There's inferior copying, there's editing. There's no editing. You pay for it, and sometimes what you get is inferior by definition, and just the quality. And basically, these people speak with a very forked tongue. You want to add anything to that list, Michele?
Yeah, that's everything you just said is true, Judith. And it comes, and as we're articulating all these problems, it occurs to me that if you're doing business with any company, you should be able to count on solid advice from that company. You shouldn't have to protect yourself to this degree. You shouldn't have to go into a relationship expecting to be ripped off and not being ripped off only if you go through all of these steps. So that's where the line is for me. We have customers come to us all the time who don't know anything about publishing. I do my best to teach them. I do my best to give them solid advice based on their situation. It should never be that we're going to take advantage of your ignorance. That's just fundamentally wrong. And that's what's going on with the self-publishing predators today.
Yeah. So a couple of other things I want to give, just give alarm alerts to. Be careful if they use these words. We're doing a mailing to thousands of what?
Yeah.
There's no follow-up. If there's no follow-up, it's basically worthless. There's no good sales or marketing team is willing to promote your book nationally in spite of it not being widely available. That if they tell you that, look, if there's a good marketing team, sometimes a niche marketing effort into a specific state, region, location. If, for example, if you're from where Michele lives, and they do a deep dive drill down into the Phoenix, Arizona area where maybe you have some name clout, why wouldn't you want to do that? There's recognition, and you can start building the buzz and the steam that might domino into other areas. Same thing with my location of Denver. I mean, we have one of the top independent bookstores here, the Tattered Cover. Why wouldn't you want to partner with them and start steamrolling it that way and let it spread out? Because let me tell you, other people watch what those bookstores do. You want to avoid companies that promise you their reps will present your book to every bookstore in the U.S. That is a BS detector if I've never known one, because it's impossible to do. And I want to also tell everyone, if they say, oh, our fee is, your total fee will be $3,000, and you're thinking, well, I've checked this out, maybe this is reasonable. I'm telling you, don't pay that all up front. Never pay anything all up front. Get it in a payment plan, because here's, a little side thing. If things are going awry and you're in trouble. It doesn't feel right. You want to use words like, this is misrepresented. What I was told is you were going to do this and this. This is what you said. I was told the contract, and you have not fulfilled the contract. This has been misrepresented. I want out. If they stop it, contact the credit card company, let them know. And here's the second thing I would do. I would cancel the credit card that they have online, and so that they can't process your credit card again. I know it's a pain in the tush, but you can get another credit card. That's it, if you want to save a little bit. All right, we have like 30 seconds. Do you want to add something here, Michele, as we exit out?
Only that if anyone is interested, I offer a little book on this subject. It's called Publish Like the Pros, A Brief Guide to Quality Self-Publishing, and you can download a PDF of this book for free from my website, 1106design.com/resources. And I will be happy to help rescue anybody who is stuck in a self-publishing company, and we can get you out, and we can get new ISBNs for you and put you on the path to publishing, self-publishing the correct way.
Yeah, and when Michele says get new ISBNs, that means that you buy them and you own them. They're not Michele's ISBNs or
right.
ISBNs. We're into showing you how to stand on your own book feet. And with that, Michele, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you, Judith.
You're welcome. This is Judith Browse. You're listening to Author You, your guide to book publishing. Have a great week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.